I called my brother and asked him if he knows of a person who has a car that I can hire for that day. He sent me Mike's number, the taxi driver, and I called the taxi driver. He told me the car is available. I can find it at around 9 p.m. in the evening. We agreed on the meeting point. I went and took the car, and the second night at 9 p.m. I drove to my parents' home. That is where the car spent the night, and I also spent the night there. So waking up in the morning of 3rd, I woke up very early in the morning because I needed to take care of the body since we were to shift before 5th. I came with the car to town. I looked for a way of disposing the body. That's when I figured that I can buy something to carry the body. And that is when I went to town. I randomly bought a metallic box, green in color, dark green in color. I packed it in the boot of the car. I drove off. I dropped the box in the house, and then I blindly dropped the body on the box. I stuffed it with a duvet, the duvet that he was covered with on the 31st night, and I added in some clothes to make a story of kidnapping. I dropped in some towel and random clothes. I later tied his mouth with jeans, and I stuffed in his mouth 2 pair of clean socks from the wardrobe. I closed the box without locking it, and then I drove back to my parents' home. That is where I met my cousin, and I asked him if he knows of a friend who can help me shift the remaining stuff from the house where I'm supposed to shift from. That is where he said he'll look for someone. I went and picked Emmanuel Omondi and my cousin Ramsey Chebwaba. We drove from home back to the apartment. That is when they tried to carry the box themselves, but Ramsey was too tiny and the box was too heavy for him to carry. I helped carry it. Me and Emmanuel, we stuffed the box out of the house. Me and Ramsey, we came out and we balanced the box through the stairs. We came down the stairs with the box. Came down, and we rest somewhere here. This is where the box was too heavy for both of us. I asked him to rest a little bit so that we could continue. So we rest for a minute, and then we went out. With the box, and yes, we went to the house, to the car. So we walked with the box. We got here. We realized that the small gate, we couldn't pass the box straight. So we turned the box on the sideways so that it could fit the small gate. So we dragged it out and we rested it here for a minute since the car was parked facing the other side. And we opened the boot. We helped put the box in the car. So we lifted up the box and dragged it in the boot, which was already open. I went to the other side of the door. I tried and pulled it in since it was very long. Then we locked the boot and we sat, 3 of us in the front. Me, I was on the driver's seat. Ramsey on the co-driver's seat, and then Manu squeezed with Ramsey on the co-driver's seat. And we locked and we drove off to our parents' home. I didn't have my driving license, and I didn't want to use the main road because it goes through CBD. We used this one, and it's also the shortest way to our home. This is where I first stopped. I was the one driving. Ramsey was the one on the co-driver's seat, and they were together with Emmanuel Omondi. So I dropped them here, and I made a U-turn. I didn't enter into the compound. This is my father's home. This is where I used to stay, or I stay. I made a U-turn and I told them I'll be back within an hour. This place is Huruma Kahoya Estate. After driving from my parents' house, I drove to this spot randomly. I came from this road, I made a U-turn, I looked around, I saw there was nobody around. I opened the boot. Before I drove the box out of the boot. I looked again, there was no one, so I just dragged it and placed it beside the fence. Then I closed the boot and I rushed. I drove off.
The autopsy reports conducted at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital revealed that Chiloba died as a result of asphyxia. Government pathologist Dr. Jackton Odhiambo said the deceased was suffocated to death after his mouth and nose were stuffed with pieces from jeans and socks.
When you look at the fingernails, they were bluish in discoloration, an indication that he was lacking oxygen when he died.
I did this from my honesty, and I did this because he was my friend, and I don't want anyone out there to think that I had a motive of killing a person whom I knew for 2 years. No one has forced me to do this. I have not been denied any chance of freedom to do this.
The evidence in court indicated that Chiloba had been sexually assaulted before his death.